financials.
Tell him we going for Canelo next.
Yes. Let's go. Canelo, come on.
You heard it from him.
At 36 years old, Terence Crawford is focused solely on legacy-defining fights, and none appear more significant than a potential showdown against Saul Canelo Alvarez. Crawford has been eyeing this matchup with the Mexican superstar for months, seeing it as the ultimate opportunity to cement his status as one of the greatest fighters of his era. With his exceptional skill set and determination, Crawford has successfully lured Canelo into the ring. Canelo, finally agreeing to fight Crawford, comes into this bout following a career-defining victory where he dominated Errol Spence Jr., unifying the welterweight division and solidifying his name in the history books. In that fight, Crawford, also known as Bud, demonstrated everything that makes him exceptional. From the opening bell, it was evident that Spence, once regarded as Crawford's biggest threat, was outmatched. Crawford's accuracy, power, and ring intelligence left Spence overwhelmed. He controlled every round before stopping him in the ninth, becoming the first male fighter in the four-belt era to be undisputed in two different weight classes. This upcoming fight against Canelo is poised to be another defining moment in Crawford's illustrious career, potentially etching his name even deeper into the annals of boxing history.
I see he wants to fight, he's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better, no? Terence Crawford is a great fighter, he's a good fighter, but like I say, he's a weight classes for a reason.
At 36 years old, Terence Crawford is laser-focused on securing legacy-defining fights that will cement his status as one of the greatest boxers of his era. Among the potential bouts, none loom larger than a clash with Saul Canelo Alvarez. For months, Crawford has been vocal about his desire to face the Mexican superstar, viewing it as the ultimate opportunity to solidify his legacy. With his exceptional skill set and determination, Crawford has finally enticed Canelo into the ring, setting the stage for what could be one of the most significant fights in modern boxing history. Crawford's recent triumph over Errol Spence Jr. was nothing short of spectacular. In a career-defining victory, he unified the welterweight division and etched his name in the annals of boxing history. Crawford, also known as Bud, showcased his superior accuracy, power, and ring intelligence, leaving Spence overwhelmed. From the opening bell, it was clear that Spence, once considered Crawford's biggest threat, was no match. Crawford dominated every round before stopping Spence in the ninth, becoming the first male fighter in the four-belt era to be undisputed in two different weight classes. Following his victory over Spence, Crawford set his sights on Canelo Alvarez, a fighter who operates three weight divisions above him and is arguably the biggest star in boxing today. This fight represents more than just a challenge for Crawford. It is about cementing his legacy. He is not interested in easy wins or smaller challenges. He wants to be remembered as the best. A fight with Canelo offers that opportunity. Canelo, however, has been hesitant to face the naturally smaller Crawford despite Crawford's incredible accomplishments. He has repeatedly downplayed the possibility of the fight, arguing that he wouldn't receive credit for defeating a smaller opponent. Canelo, who fights at 168 pounds, views Crawford, who last fought at 147, as not being in his league in terms of size and power. Initially, Canelo dismissed Crawford's challenge outright, even suggesting that Crawford should face Teofimo Lopez first, an idea many saw as a way to deflect the challenge. Despite Canelo's initial reluctance, the pressure began to mount as fans and analysts increasingly called for the fight. Crawford, relentless as ever, continued to publicly challenge Canelo, and the demand for the fight grew. An interesting turn of events occurred after Canelo's recent bout against Edgar Berlanga. Canelo squared off against Berlanga in what many expected to be a routine victory. While Canelo dominated the early rounds, Berlanga surprised everyone with his toughness and resilience. managing to go the full 12 rounds despite a knockdown in the third round. Although Canelo won the fight convincingly on the scorecards, Berlanga's performance raised questions about Canelo's finishing power. This was Canelo's fifth consecutive fight going the distance, and some fans began to wonder if the once lethal finisher had lost some of his knockout power. While his loyal supporters remained devoted, the inability to put Berlanga away added an interesting dimension to the discussions about his future opponents. During the post-fight press conference, Canelo was asked about potential future opponents, including Crawford. Initially, Canelo refused to comment, reinforcing his previous stance of dismissing the fight. However, behind the scenes, the financial offer for a Crawford fight had increased significantly. Canelo had been criticized for the amount of money he was asking for the fight, a sum that his team and even Oscar de la Hoya deemed unrealistic. But after Crawford's performance and the potential revenue the fight could generate, Crawford's team and the Saudi backers met Canelo's financial demands. As one of the highest-paid athletes in the world, Canelo's decisions are often influenced by the purse. With the financial terms now more appealing, Canelo began to entertain the idea of fighting Crawford. This development reignited the conversation around this potential megabout, drawing massive attention from fans worldwide. For Crawford, this fight represents the ultimate legacy-defining moment. A chance to move up 3 divisions and face one of the greatest fighters of the modern era. While Crawford has his eyes set on Canelo, the Mexican superstar has other options on the table. One possibility is a rematch with Dmitry Bivol, the Russian light heavyweight champion who handed Canelo his second professional loss in May 2022. Bivol's victory was convincing, with Bivol using his size and skill to outbox Canelo over 12 rounds. Canelo has been eyeing a rematch ever since, but negotiations have stalled due to Bivol's willingness to drop down to 168 pounds for the rematch, aiming to prove his victory wasn't just a result of his size advantage. Another option for Canelo is to continue defending his super middleweight titles against younger, undefeated contenders. Fighters like Christian Billy and Diego Pacheco are both ranked highly in the super middleweight division and could provide fresh challenges. Billy, in particular, is known as a serious threat to dethrone Canelo. Despite these options, it's clear that a fight with Crawford holds the most intrigue. The financial incentives are enormous, and the fight would undoubtedly be one of the biggest events in recent boxing history. Despite the appeal, several logistical challenges need to be addressed for the Crawford-Canelo fight to become a reality. The most significant issue is the weight disparity. Canelo typically fights at 168 pounds, while Crawford's last bout was at 147. A catchweight seems like the most likely solution, but the exact number would be a point of negotiation. Additionally, both fighters would need to agree on the purse, with Canelo likely commanding the lion's share given his star power. One of the major challenges in making this fight happen is Canelo's relationship with his promoters and financial backers, particularly the Saudi Arabian investors. These investors have injected enormous sums of money into the sport and are keen on seeing high-profile matchups. Despite previous tensions, the potential revenue from a Crawford-Canelo fight could smooth over any differences. For both fighters, this bout represents more than just another fight. It is a chance to solidify their legacies. Crawford, despite the odds, remains the most appealing option for Canelo if he chooses not to fight David Benavidez, the hard-hitting, undefeated WBC interim super middleweight champion. Though Crawford would enter the fight as a heavy underdog, the matchup itself would generate significant attention and revenue, positioning it as arguably the biggest fight in boxing at the moment. As Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez inch closer to the possibility of a blockbuster fight, the conversation continues to revolve around both the challenges and rewards that such a bout would bring. Like Canelo, Crawford is no stranger to success. He has conquered 4 weight classes and established himself as one of boxing's top pound-for-pound fighters.